before I forget, I have two corrections from the last two classes. Okay. One is what Michael corrected me on that Arya Asanga does belong, if you split the Lamrim lineages into two, starting from Lord Buddha, then the Bodhisattva activity lineage, which is called Gyaltsab Je, comes down first through Buddha, then Maitreya, and I said Chenrez's sake, I'll look at Tishvara, and then Michael said it's Maitreya, and then he's right.
I just give you a funny look, I didn't say a word.
No, but I heard it. And because you'd think it would be Chenrez's sake, but anyway, it comes down to Maitreya and then to Arya Asanga. So that's one correction from the first class. And then the second class, as we mentioned, I think you mentioned yesterday, I discussed I wrote the traditional verse for the 7 Dharma-like visions. Then we discussed the number of them, and then we discussed the order of them. And it looked like the order that came first and the order during the order were different. And they are. I mean, I checked the book, and then Gyaltsab Je says, how come they're different, you know? And he says, you know, you can do it either way. And that's in your second reading that you don't have yet, okay? So it was a good point. And Gyaltsab Je says you could do it either way. So either way in your homework is okay. Meaning, switching 4 and 5. Either way, okay? I mean, I remember getting up and saying it the way Gyaltsab Je said it, and then thinking that I lost the logic at a certain point. So we'll do it again, you know? You want to become your own future Buddha, so you can teach your own future Dharma, to turn your own future direct realizers of emptiness people into that, right? So that covers the first 3. And then the question is between the Buddha that you need to help you do that, the outside Buddha, the one who already exists, and then the come, or the Buddha nature in you. So would that come Buddha nature first and outside Buddha first, or outside Buddha first and Buddha nature first? And that's where the question comes in. Let me get it straight. Some people say, after the first 3, you go find an outside Buddha who inspires you to take your own inner seed and work on it. Some people say, you think about your own inner seed and want to become a Buddha, and then you go to an outside Buddha who can teach you and that kind. So either way you do it on the homework is fine. And something that you would spend 6 hours debating in the debate ground with no resolution, just for fun, you know? Okay. So today we're going to work slowly through the 7 Dharma-like visions, which means, first of all, discussing the 3 jewels, right? The 3 jewels. And today I think we're going to delve into the question of, one of the main topics today will be, why when he discussed the 3 jewels, did he choose the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha that you want to become? Because they don't exist yet. I mean, theoretically, for most of us. Maybe for me at least. Okay? They don't exist yet. So, I mean, taking refuge, doesn't it imply taking refuge in someone outside of you? And isn't that even part of the definition? You know, you go to refuge to someone outside of you because of 2 causes, fear, and you think they might be able to help you, right? So, why does he start out calling the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha that you are going to become the 3 jewels, which are the objects of refuge, right? So we're going to go into that a little bit today. We have to start Gogomare. Say Gogomare. Gogomare. Which means? No need to carve it, just write it. Okay. Sorry, just kidding. You know. I started out that way. Chedu Jawa is an idiom in Tibetan. Chedu Jawa means the ideal or the one that the teaching was meant for. And Dulja means student or disciple. Okay? So this whole phrase means the student that the Uttara Tantra was meant for. The student that the Uttara Tantra was designed for. And you know that dul means to discipline or to tame a wild horse, for example. It's called dul. So the word disciple is the same in Tibetan as it is in English. Disciple meaning the one who needs to be disciplined or tamed or broken. Okay? Not fun, but the result is cool. So, Chirujari Dolja means the ideal disciple or the perfect disciple that this book was meant for. And this is very common in the ancient teachings. Each book is designed, each teaching, as you know from Tange, is designed for a particular group of students. It's like, I used to play jazz in college, and the only jobs we could get, because we weren't that normal, was in this weird bar outside of the college. And you would get up, and then depending on who was listening, you would play differently. You see, like, you start a song, and then you see the reaction. And then if the audience feeds you back, then you go higher and higher. And if they're all just drinking and fighting and stuff, and trying to get up on the stage, you know, your music actually goes to a lower level, because you're just trying to reach something in them, right? And it's the same for a teacher. As you know who would try to teach, you know, you get up, you see how the eyes look, you know, or how the body language is, and then if it's good, you go higher. And if it's not so good, you go down a few notches, you know. And then that creates problems 1,000 years later when they go through Winston's teachings, the videos, you know, and they're like, I don't get it, you know. First he said this was true, and then 2 days later at a different teaching, he said something else was true. And that's why you get into fights about Change or how to interpret what a teacher said. So each major teaching, or each major book, has the Lord Buddha, or Lord Maitreya in this case, they have somebody in mind for this book. That's called Chedujari Dolja. They write this book, or they dictate this book to whom? Arya Asanga into Shida Heaven, right? And they have certain people in mind. So I'm going to tell you what that kind of person is for this book, because it has to do with the first 3 diamond light visions. Okay. Say, take chin. Should I go right there? Yeah. Sorry. Take chin. Rik chin. The first part of a student for whom this book was meant is that they must be take chin, rik chin. Take chin means Mahayana. Big capacity people, big capacity. Rik means type or family. Rik chin means belongs to the family or belongs to the type. Tering Sangye Riksuke, Sangye Se Sutagyoto. Right? Today you have Sangye Rik, Sangye Se Sutagyoto. You've entered the family of the Buddhas, right? So first they should be of Buddha Bodhisattva family. In other words, if you're in this room, if you made it all the way out here in the middle of nowhere, it's not by accident, okay? It's by millions of lifetimes of praying that you could learn this book, okay? It's from millions of lifetimes of trying to develop compassion for other people, or you wouldn't be here. Karmically, you wouldn't have made it into this room. So you have this, you are Chaitanya Chen, if you made it this far. You have deep within you a calm or a seed that wants to be able to serve every living creature in many planets, countless planets. So you have that. And that's the first part that makes you able to sit here, to be a student of this class, okay? Wang Nun. Say Wang Nun. Wang. Wang means power. I think you know, like a Wang is an initiation, it's called a Wang. And then Wang Nun means very, very sharp powers, meaning you have a high Dharma IQ. And you know, I've mentioned it many times. Wang Nun doesn't mean worldly IQ. You know, like you meet many people who are very capable people, very intelligent in a worldly way, very capable, they can do anything in business and things like that, but their Dharma IQ can be 0. And then you meet other people who have a high Dharma IQ that can't like drive a car or something like that, you know, they just run into things. And and then you meet many people who have both actually. But what we're talking about is a high Dharma IQ, high Dharma IQ. How does that manifest itself? I mean, they believe higher things, and they are motivated to do higher things. They are faced with a lifetime of consuming or a lifetime of trying to get liberated and helping others in an ultimate way, and they just naturally gravitate towards the second, okay? Does that mean they don't have jobs? No, not necessarily. They could be president of a big corporation. But they, in the back of their mind and in their heart, their motivation is always that they should do this to help other people. And then they have this drive to learn the Dharma well, practice well, meditate well, retreat well. So that makes them Wang Nun. So you can say high Dharma IQ, okay? You have to have this to be a student in this class, okay? To be a student of the Uttara Tantra. The Uttara Tantra's Chedijari Dulja, the ideal student, the student for whom this book was designed, are people who display two qualities. They have like compassion. They are Mahayana, family type of people. They have deep in their hearts the belief that they could become the next Buddha. They could become Maitreya. They will be Maitreya. They believe that. And then secondly, they have this high Dharma IQ, which is typified by being attracted to holy activities, meditation, retreat, study, serving other people. Okay? That kind of person is ideal for this book. Does that mean that other people can't listen to this book? Is Tantra secret?
No. Tantra?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, Tantra means secret, right? The word means secret. But it's a self-keeping secret, right? I mean, you can show a tantric book to somebody who's hasn't had initiation can go and peek in a tantric book. They just won't get it, right? Like, they'll write a PhD thesis about it. Okay? Or maybe, you know, that's not a kava, right? Not everyone who writes a PhD thesis about Dharma is doing so for their own reasons, but I'm just saying in case, okay? Or they might just think it's crazy or even dirty or wrong, okay? And so, in that way, Tantra is a secret which keeps itself. And in the same way, teachings on the higher way like something like the Uttara Tantra, people just wouldn't get it. They wouldn't be, first of all, most people who didn't have come, who weren't this kind of student, they wouldn't be attracted to it. You know, you could get up, start to give a lecture about it, and they would like fall asleep, or leave and not come back, you know, or fight with you and then leave, you know. And that's a very typical for someone who isn't up to this level of student. So in a way, the secrets keep themselves. And it's not that Lord Buddha said these students, anybody who wasn't this student couldn't come to that teaching. It was just that if they came, they weren't attracted to it, or they even heard a lower teaching, which is where the idea of lower kinds of emptiness comes in the mind-only school and in the lower half of the middle-way school. So that's the kind of student that we would teach this book to. Then Gyaltsab Je goes on to say that a Chedajari Dulja, the ideal student for this book, would be, you could tell them from three different characteristics. So I'm going to go through those three characteristics. These are the three that are on your homework. Okay. First one. Say Gupa. Gupa. Gupa means necessity. Necessity. This thing must happen. This thing must happen. Okay? The ideal student for this scripture is ideal, first of all, says Gyaltsab Je, because they realize there's a Gupa. Something's got to happen. What's that? I got to do something about all the pain in the world. I got to do something. I have to try to do something about all the pain in the world. Okay? There are two qualities there inside Gupa, right? These are like subsets of Gupa, right? One would be Nyingje. Yeah. So the debate would go like this, okay? It'd be like this. I'll pick on Michael, really. Well, what you say? What's the first quality that a disciple for which the Uttara Tantra was specifically designed? What's the first quality they should have?
Belongs to the Arya Asanga.
In general, yeah, that's in general. And then secondly,
High spiritual IQ.
Yeah, high spiritual IQ. And then if the homework said, now give me the 3 or 4 qualities that they have, you'd go on to here. So what would be the first one?
Compassion.
Well, it'd be Gupa.
Gupa. Okay, Gupa is necessity.
Yeah, like they're driven. They say something's got to happen. Something's got to happen. You know? Why are they driven? You see, that's what the homework said. You know? Why do they have that first quality? Driven. Because they got Nyingje. They got Nyingje. What's Nyingje? Karuna.
Great compassion.
Compassion. Okay. Compassion difference from Jampa, love, how? Anybody? Yeah?
One is wanting to give them everything they need, the other one's wanting to take away all their suffering.
Yeah, which one is this?
Compassion is wanting to take away all their suffering.
Yeah, so Nyingje is driven by wanting to take away other people's problems. And then Jampa, which happens to be the name from Maitreya, is wanting to, after you take away their trouble, then give them everything they want. Okay. But if you ask me, how come the ideal student for Uttara Tantra recognizes some necessity, something's going to happen? Well, first of all, they have Nyingje. Okay. First of all, they're worried about the suffering of the world. Okay. You wouldn't be in this room if you weren't that. Okay. You might be in a New York class because some guys walked in following the cute girls who came to class. I won't name any names. Who later became a very, very fine student.
Skillful.
Yeah, skillful me. But if you're this far, this is out in the desert, you know, Nyingje, you have some concern for other people's suffering. Okay? And then B, you know this from last night. Say laksam.
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 Mercedes.
Responsibility.
Yeah, personal responsibility. I'll do it myself. We talked about it last night with your do-gooder company, right? No one else helps me, I'll do it myself. And you know, you don't have to go very far in the Dharma business before you bump into the necessity of laksam. Okay, you know, right? Earl, with the yurts, for example, you know, taking down the yurts. I mean, if you're gonna do the taking down the yurts, you got to decide. If I'm the last person out in this hellhole, taking them down, I don't care. I'm sticking it out, you know. And for that, you need laksam. You got to have laksam. Okay, laksam means I'll do it myself, you know. And it comes in the 7 steps to developing bodhicitta. It's just before you get bodhicitta. It's the last thing before. Am I right? Yeah, just before bodhicitta. Okay? So, if you're going to be the student for whom this teaching was meant, yeah, and we say what are the 3 qualities? And the first one is, you see some necessity going on. You got to do something. Okay? What drives you to that necessity? Karuna. You see the suffering of people. You want to do something about it. Laksam. I'll be goddamn well do it myself. If nobody else helps me, nobody else pitches in. Everybody, in the scriptures it says, if everybody rises and becomes my enemy and tells me I'm crazy and fights against me, I don't care. I'll get it done. I'll do it. They'll thank me later. Okay? Laksam. Okay? Now the second quality, right, of the 3. Okay? First we had necessity, and that had under it these 2 qualities. Mm-hmm. Now the second main quality. What was that? Oh, Nupa. Am I on 2 or B? 2. Right?
You're on 2.
Okay. This is where the homework gets messed up usually. Say Nupa.
Nupa.
Right? This sag causes it to be lengthened slightly. Nupa.
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 Like Nutnik would have a ta. Nutnik. Right? Nupa. Okay. Nupa means what? Anybody? Ability. The ability. Okay? Potential. Potential. Huh? Capacity. Never pull the plug on anything. I don't know, which one is it, do you know?
The one that going into his phone at the bottom.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll forget to plug it back in. Nupa means the Chetujara Dilja, the disciple for whom the Uttara Tantra was designed, which is you guys. Oh, come on, you're talking about the early Indian disciples. Am I? I mean, Maitreya could only see today, you know? I mean, Maitreya can't look ahead 2,000 years and say, or 1,700 years, and say, they're going to be sitting there in Dharma East, you know? Got to get this ready for them. It's just as, you're just as valid as the first disciples of that book. You are disciples. You are Chetujara Dujas of the Uttara Tantra. Because you see the Nupa having seen the Gupa. Okay? You saw the necessity for something to happen. And now you see the Nupa. Nupa means potential, means it can happen. I see it can happen. Okay? Nupa means I not only see it has to happen, I see it can happen. And Gyaltsab Je says to me, I mean, I get thrills up the back of my spine when I read why he thinks Nupa is possible. A Chetujara Dilja like you, ideal student for this book, they see there's a potential for Buddhahood happening because, gosh,
This is a subset of 2.
yeah, it's the reason why there's Nupa. Like the other 2 were the reason why there's Gupa. They see there's potential because they pikan emberha. They toni topa.
They can realize emptiness.
Yeah, they perceive emptiness. Okay? Because they perceive emptiness. Okay? I love that. That's very ACI. That's very worldview. Okay? They see Buddhahood is possible. I mean, one thing they know it's got to be done. Gupa. Then they see it's possible. Nupa. Why? Because they toni topa. Okay? So, you're ready. Debate. Elida. Sorry. If someone is a perfect student for the Uttara Tantra, right? They must have already perceived emptiness. What's up? Because they see the potential for Buddhahood. They see it's possible. And that's only because, says Gyaltsab Je, that they toni topa. You contradict every scripture.
He didn't say directly, he just said...
I didn't say he said directly, and he didn't say he said directly. You're thinking he said directly.
No, I thought you were saying he said directly.
I didn't say directly. Who said
okay.
directly?
Yeah, because of the solutions.
So Tony told yeah. So the Chittagaya Dujas in this room all perceived emptiness.
Good.
What's up? Talk about that. So they're all Aryas, right?
Not necessarily.
Good. Kyavamachi. So just because you perceive emptiness doesn't mean you perceive emptiness?
Right.
Gotcha.
Doesn't mean you perceive emptiness directly.
I didn't say that. No, you're right. Okay, but that's where you would screw the guy up again. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, it's not true that just because you've seen emptiness, you've seen it directly. Okay, so what Gyaltsab Je is saying is very powerful. You can't be the ideal student for this book if you don't grasp that Buddhahood is possible because you understand emptiness. You understand that your own being is empty. And that if you collected the right karma by keeping your book nicely, your vows, you would perceive that empty screen as Maitreya. And if you get it, you know, everybody in this room gets that, right? Anybody who doesn't get it, raise your hand. You get that your own being is an empty screen. You get that if you keep your vows, do retreats, do meditation, help Diamond Mountain happen, right? For others. Right? You will see this being become Maitreya. Okay? You get that. So you get the Nupa, you get the possibility. And that's why you're the special student for this book, and that happens to be why you end up in this room at this moment, okay? And that's you see the potential for becoming Maitreya. Like people in this room didn't start laughing when I said you're all going to be Maitreya. You know, you're just kind of wondering how it's going to happen. But you understand the Nupa, right? You know the potential. You know the potential. And you're thinking, well, I cut my meditation short this morning or didn't do it at all. You know, you're wondering how that's going to happen. You have to keep it up. Okay. So, Nupa. Third quality of that student. Say Topar, Cha, Cha, Topar, Cha, Cha. Venerable Anha. Cha means I'm going to do it.
I'm going to do it with top power?
That's top. Top. Achieve. Which so means what? Topacha.
I'm going to achieve it.
I'm going to do it. You know? Damn it, I'm going to do it. Topacha. Right. That comes after Gupa and Nupa, right? Gupa, this thing's got to get done. Nupa, it's possible because things are empty. Even I'm empty. Topaja, I'm going to do it. I'm going to attain it. I will be the next Maitreya. Done Maitreya, right? I will be Maitreya. You have to think like that. Okay? Maitreya. I will be Maitreya. Pretty much we have already perfect circumstances. You have great trials ahead of us to make this place happen. It's a lot of work for a few people. Later people will come and complain about the lemonade we said, right? And but we're the ones who have to build the houses and get the lemonade ready. And so in a way we have the most work to do. But that's why you're here and you're a Topa Ja type of person, you know. I'll get it done. I'll do it. Topa Ja. Okay? Gyaltsab Je throws in a fourth quality. Okay?
Where do the three come from if Gyaltsab Je throws in a fourth?
You'll see why.
Okay.
You'll see why. Oops. Let me see how to spell it exactly. Oh, okay. Say Wang Tu, Min. Wang Tu, Min. They ain't Min. Wang, Dharma intellect. Tul, what's Tul? Dumb. Low, dull actually. Okay, they are not dull Dharma IQ. Dull spiritual intellect. Okay. And then Gyaltsab Je goes on to say, what does it mean to be a Dharma dummy? Okay? What does it mean? It means saying Topa Ja without saying Gupa and Nupa. It's number 3 without number 1 and number 2. Topa Ja without Gupa and Nupa, which means, oh, I will attain Buddhahood for all living beings. Without saying that there's a necessity, and without saying how it's going to happen. And that's what makes you a less qualified student for this book, okay? Like, oh, you run around saying you're a Buddhist. You run around saying, you know, I'd like to be a Buddhist. I'd like to achieve Buddhahood. But you don't really appreciate how much the world is suffering. And you don't really appreciate that it's totally possible because I'm empty, okay? You got to have those two, or else you're a Wang Tu, okay? You're doing it without really understanding it, and that makes you what they call dull faculties, okay? And I think, personally, that you guys you've been through so many classes on karma and emptiness that you really, really get the Nupa part. I think that's where most people, I think every person outside of Tibet and India who is attracted to Buddhism, in my experience, 95% of them are coming because someone close to them died, they saw some terrible accident, they themselves have cancer. You know, they've seen suffering and then they turn to the Dharma. But it's the Nupa part where people fall, right? It's the Nupa part. Like they kind of dimly understand that there was a Buddha and that, you know, probably I can become a Buddha, but they are more in this mindset of a Buddha like God, you know? And that's a very big difference between what the religion I grew up with and the Dharma I came to embrace, you know? God is outside of you. God, you cannot become God. To say you could become God would be almost irreverent or blasphemous. But in Buddhism, the whole point is quite different. And isn't it quite different in which book? It starts out with three diamond-like visions of what?
The future.
Your future, right? That's the whole point. That's why Gyaltsab Je is rubbing in this thing. This whole book starts out, you don't go to refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha who are in India 2,500 years ago. You don't go to refuge to some Buddhist monks who have funny-looking eyes and different culture, drink salty tea and bang on weird drums and stuff. You don't go to refuge in that. You're going, the highest student, the student of highest intellect, is going for refuge in what?
Their future Buddha.
Their own Buddhahood. What they will become for the world. And that's really powerful. That's really powerful. So you're not this kind of Wong tool. You totally see how it's possible. And that's totally the goal of your life. And as we're about to see in this class, for Gyaltsab Je, that's what refuge means. That's what refuge means. That's why he put the 3 jewels first. And that's why the 3 jewels are the ones that you're going to become. Okay? For him, that's the whole point of religion, is to worship the thing you're going to become and to strive towards that and to see the Nupa, see how it's going to happen because you are empty. Okay? So it's not like in this class, for people of your intellectual capacity, right? I wouldn't say this out in Joshua Baptist Church when Mercedes and Christy and I go to do our presentations there. We're not going to, emphasize that the goal of this class is that you become God, or something like that. Not at the beginning, anyway. Okay. But it's very appropriate in a class of Chedijai Dujas, people who are special disciples. You grasp the need and you grasp the possibility because you understand emptiness, okay? And you have Ningje. So therefore you don't qualify as one of these duller intellect students, and you now got a taste for why the first 3 of the 7 diamond visions are the 3 jewels that you are going to become. Okay? Let's see what comes next. This is a part that I really like of the Uttara Tantra. And here I'm going to put the Sanskrit, since you guys learned Sanskrit today. Your Sanskrit teacher will go over why it looks funny. Okay, when 2 consonants bump together in Sanskrit, they create a new letter. Unfortunately, okay. So this is the T, and this is the N. But anyway, it turns out Ratna. Okay. As we said in the Yoga Sutra teaching, Ratna comes from a root Ra, which ultimately means to give or bestow or have value. Came into Latin as res, and into the English word reality, meaning something real, something of value, something substantial. Okay. And the Tibetans chose to translate it as koinchok. Say koinchok. This is like the only word in Tibetan where you have this thing called a diphthong where you say an oi sound, oi, like oi gavol, right? So it should have been pronounced kunchok. But just because of some historical accident, this single word is pronounced koinchok. Say koinchok. Koinchok. Kun, when you treat it by itself, it's kun. Kunba means rare. Rare. Okay, so this one means rare. Chok means what? Supreme. Nice. It's getting harder to teach you guys, you know. 3 years ago, you weren't as, you put a little heat on me. Okay, koin chok. Koin means rare, chok means supreme. Now this is called the older period of translation in Tibet. It occurred, I believe the dividing line is before Long Dharma. Long Dharma was a king who destroyed Buddhism in Tibet just after it got started. And then they had to start over again. But in the early translation period, the Tibetans were very creative in translating Sanskrit. And then they would make up words like Muni, which literally means the silent one. God translated Pelmala as what? In the back seat of the car there in Flagstaff. Yeah, good guess. Chamdende, which means the one who defeated the enemy, possesses the qualities, and has gone beyond transcendent. You know, it's this long, they just stuck together a bunch of words and made a new word, you know. Koin chok is one of those. Like the word for the three jewels, Triratna, in Tibetan, is the rare supremes. It sounds like Diana Ross and I used to translate it as rare supremes, but then people made fun of me, so I changed it to three jewels. But
Studio outtakes.
yeah, rare supremes. But these are this is the word for like koin chok sum would be what? Koin chok sum. Three jewels. And when a Tibetan gets mad, they say koin chok sum. You know, it's like Jesus great. You know, and it's funny. Like the first few times you hear it, you're like,
That's funny.
So now you know what to say when you get mad in Tibet. Of course, you shouldn't say that. Now, I always wondered why they called it. How did they get the coin? How did they get the chok? You know, like is that just something they made up? And what's cool is that the Uttara Tantra says you should translate it as koin chok. You know, the Uttara Tantra says the three jewels are kun and they're chok, and koin chok's not a bad way to translate it. So the Tibetans were actually taking it from this scripture. And that, to me, that's really exciting to see. So you'll have the root text in your reading, and it's a verse in the Uttara Tantra. But Maitreya gives 6 reasons why the jewels are kun and why they're chok. And I thought we'd go through that for fun, because I think we'll go through half the 6, then take a break, and then come through the other half.
6 reasons why they're supreme.
Yeah, and why they're rare. You know, why are the 3 jewels? Which is who?
Me.
You gotta go like this.
Result.
Me. Okay, like we're not just going through this for fun because there's 6 categories and Galupas like categories, and you know, it's not like that. Okay, it's like these are 6 qualities you're going to have. These are 6 qualities that apply to you, and you have to think about that. Okay, you have to become koin chok. The whole point of the first 3 diamond visions, you have to become the 3 jewels. So let's see what you got to become. Why are you going to be rare? Why are you going to be supreme? First reason. Say Juma?
Juma.
Kun. See, when the kun gets cut off of koin chok, you don't say coin anymore, you say kun. Okay? So, that's why it's not coin. Juma means happens. Kun means only rarely. Okay? Utpada in Sanskrit. And then I was interested about the kun, it's durlabha, which we studied. We were memorizing a text, and it said that people who can do a full lotus for a long period of time are durlabha in the loka. Lokasya durlabha, meaning what? Hard to find. Durlabha means hard to come by. Okay. Yeah, hard to come by. You know, we experienced that in 3 year retreat. We were seeing like if we could do it for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Long story. So, Jumakun means doesn't happen very often, only rarely happens. And then Gyaltsab Je says, most people in the entire world don't have the kelwa to see the three jewels. They don't have the kelwa to ever run into the three jewels. What's kelwa? Good karma. Good karma. You know, they just don't have it. They are like the people in the town that Asanga ran into carrying Maitreya on his shoulders. And what did they see?
Nothing.
Mostly nothing. Yeah, mostly nothing. Okay? There's just this crazy guy. I mean, every time I feel like I'm getting called crazy too much, I think of a Asanga running around town with Maitreya on his shoulders. You know? And it comforts me. You know? So it's like, okay, they just couldn't see anything. You know, and they said, you know, they probably would have locked him up in nowadays, right?
Yeah.
He's running around town screaming about this guy on his shoulder.
Yeah, they would have.
So, Jumakun. Jumakun means the three jewels happen only rarely in the world, meaning, listen, they're here all the time, but people can't see it because they don't have the kelwa, and people don't meet them, and people don't run into them. I was to give me a look like, are they here all the time? Good debate. Are they here all the time?
Who's perceiving?
Good. Nice. Who's perceiving? Good. Very nice. It's actually a sort of a self-existent thing. It's an error of worldview to say they're here all the time. That's like saying my Lama is really a tantric deity. You know, it's an error in worldview to say that.
But like emptiness,
They're really what?
I don't perceive emptiness, but everything has its own emptiness. It's there regardless of my perception of it. So the Buddhist... I thought we talked about this a couple times last week.
I know.
I don't have to directly perceive an object's emptiness to understand that it has an emptiness. So I don't have to directly to see a Buddha in the room to suppose that there's a Buddha on every atom.
You guys debated in the debate ground. Okay? And there should be a debate ground here. We will have a debate ground. And that'll be one of the main reasons to be at Dharma Mountain. There will be a debate ground. You guys discussing with each other once a week, right?
Yeah, at least all day.
Okay, yeah, you can do it in the car, you can do it while you're working, you can do it anytime, but you've got to do it. It's a 100% difference. The people in the Sammo Nangden class, I think, realize that. You know? Like if you just talk it over with somebody in plain normal English for 20 minutes while you're washing dishes or something, it just sticks in your mind really good. Later, in the fall of 2004, it will be a requirement to debate once between classes. Okay? So everybody will move out before that, but anyway. Jumakun. Second quality. What is the second one? This is comes from the Say time. Time. In Sanskrit, it's nirmala, and you'll go over that with yours if you want to in your Sanskrit class before class. But chi means impurity or stink, and me means no stink. Okay, so it means spotless or unpolluted or untainted, like that. The Sanskrit nirmala, the mala has come into English as, in what word can you guess? Something that means bad.
Malcontent.
Malcontent, malevolent, malnutrition, meaning bad. Like mal in French, does it mean bad? No. Yeah. So it's like that. Yeah. Ultimately, it probably relates to mort also. Yeah. So it just means bad. Not bad. No stink. And then Gyaltsab Je says a very interesting thing. You know, you can get these books where they say, oh, the Buddha Dharma Sangha is immaculate and wonderful and therefore Chime. Okay? Gyaltsab says, no. They are immaculate in the sense that they don't have, what should we say? I don't remember one of them. They don't have two imperfections. They are free of two imperfections. Okay? First one is being unable to protect you. And to me, that's very profound. You know, like I met a person in the last week who is dying. You know, I asked specifically to talk to them because I know they're dying. I mean, very shortly dying. And they all know it. Everyone knows it. And so you want to offer them some protection, right? I mean, it's too late, actually. It's too late to do anything. It hasn't happened yet, but the time it takes to practice the open teachings, the time it takes to practice the secret teachings, the time it takes to master the inner channels, the work with the chakras, the time it takes to build up that inner body with very difficult practices, there's just no time. The person could go into retreat now and it's too late. So there's all these worldly kinds of protection that they're going to. You know, oh, I went to a specialist. I had my entire blood taken out, screened, radiated, put back into my body. You know, I had, now the person is going to faith healers because now, after that process, Western science has said, forget it. And that protection is going to let the person down. But it has chima. It's not chime. You see, can't help them. Won't help them. They'll die soon. Can't protect them. It's not a kind of protection. Going to that kind of protection, even medicine, surgical procedures, you know, they can't protect you. Okay? And they fail. The second one is lua. They fail. They let you down. Lua means they fail you. You always hear this thing, the three jewels are unerring. What's unerring mean? You know, like they don't make mistakes on their computer or something. It doesn't mean that. Air in the Tibetan lua means they let you down. They let you down. People put their hopes in money. You know, you're very aware of security when you're out doing a 3-year retreat in the desert. You just become very aware of security. There were 2 rattlesnakes under our deck a lot during most of the retreat, you know. We were just out in the open, like if any intruder came, like hunters were wandering around. One retreat almost got shot by a hunter. And then there were drug runners coming through the property at the beginning. And you had this, you just felt like being out there in the middle of nowhere with no money, no place to buy anything, no clothes. We didn't have, you know, we just had 1 pair of clothes or 2 pair of clothes. Like, you just feel this very thing that you're not secure. You don't have security. And then you in the beginning of the retreat, you have this hunger for a job, and this hunger for a family, and this hunger for the ability to talk to friends, or at least to consume something, like French fries, milkshake, TV show, latest video, the new CD. You just, consuming makes you feel like you're somebody. You know, consuming makes you feel like you have some security. And you take that away from people, they almost went crazy. We almost went crazy, you know. And what it comes to is you don't have any security. And this chime means this coin chomp, that kind of security doesn't let you down. It's the only real security you have. Emptiness. And the perception of emptiness. And the possibilities raised by that Nupa. It's the only security, the only real security that we have. Okay? The rest is all just apparent, you know. The person I talked about has has access to great amounts of money. And there's no security. Okay? So really, to be able to live in that ambiguity where you don't have any apparent security is a good Buddhist trait. It's a good Buddhist trait. You know, it's uncomfortable in some ways, but in another way, you're not lying to yourself. You know, there is no other security. And don't forget that we're talking security in the sense of what you will become. You know? You will become someone who doesn't let other people down. Doctors let other people down. Lawyers let other people down. Firemen let other people down. Police let other people down. People who don't really understand emptiness and karma let other people down. You want to become a refuge that doesn't let other people down. And that's why you want to become the three jewels. Did you have a question?
Yeah, is there something significant in the way you phrased they don't have the imperfection of being unable to protect you, as opposed to saying they have the ability to protect you?
Oh, yeah, no. Well, just that in the root text it says they don't have this bad quality, you see, of not being able to do something. So it's a double negative rather than a positive, but that's the way Lord Maitreya did it. Now, if you went to the debate ground, you could ask people, why did he say chime? Why didn't he just say something positive? You know, you could debate that with somebody. Okay. I think the implication is that other refuges do have chi. If you think about it, it's a mayenga. There's an implication that there are other kinds of refuge which do let you down. And which, what was the first one? Unable to protect you. Okay, same thing really. We'll do the third one and then we'll take a break. Sarah took a break already.
You said there are two imperfections?
Yeah, one was not being able to protect others. And second was letting people down in this, and oftentimes that means like inconsistent results. Inconsistent, like you can't trust what's going to happen. Say two, then. Two. And then this particular combination of letters, which you'll learn in your Tibetan class, wherever we're going, is what we call prenasal. So you don't say just then, you say then. You say then. So when you stick what we call an open vowel, which means an A-E-R-E-U-A-O at the end of a syllable, before an end sound, it gets really strong, tunden, like gunden. There's no N in the word gun in the middle of the word gunden. It's just what we call this prenasal effect, like twins, you know, or this nasal effect. So you say tunden, say tunden. Tu means power in the sense of magnificent, fantastic, mystic power. Okay, it's a very beautiful word. To do a tu on somebody means to curse somebody. Tu gyap means to put a curse on or a spell on somebody. Okay? If you see Pabon Rinpoche's pictures in his early life, he's like this thin, handsome guy. If you see his pictures in his later life, he's like weighs 300 pounds or something. And they say Tugyap, somebody did a Tugyap on him. He had like a spiritual fight, like a wizard, with some evil forces. And he won, but at a cost. And they were able to Tugyap him. And then he almost died, like his body just totally changed. And that's called Tu. So Tunden means the three jewels have this incredible mystic force, mystic power. Here, Gyaltsab Je starts, actually in the last one and the second one, he starts calling the three jewels, he doesn't call them Koinjo, he calls them Yishin Norbu. What's Yishin Norbu? Chintamani. What's Chintamani? What does it mean? What's Chinta mean? Chitta means mind, like bodhicitta. Chinta means wish, whatever you wish for, whatever you could think of. So Chintamani means a wish-giving gem. And this is a story in Tibet and India that Chintamani means there's a special jewel that if you find it, and then you put it through this washing process, like you have to wash it, like rock tumbling, but it's some kind of mystic waters, like, you know, like holy water. And you have to bathe it in this holy water, and then you dry it off, and then you bathe it again, and then you dry it off, and then you bathe it again. You do all these bathing rituals. Then you have to set it in a special place, like on the top of a flagpole called a top, and then you have to pray to it, and you have to do certain rituals, and then it becomes a wishing jewel. So at this point, Gyaltsab Je starts talking about wishing jewel, and he mentions when you say chi me, which means what? No more stain, no imperfection. He says, see, the wishing jewels start to wash. We're starting to wash this wishing jewel. Wishing jewels have been well washed. And they also have two. They have two. Why? Why do they have some fantastic power? A normal wishing jewel. They give you anything you want. It's like an Aladdin's lamp. You know, the genie comes out, you rub it, the genie comes out, you say, I want a big lemonade for break, you know. Because they have Munchek Drug. Munchek Drug means there's 6 kinds of clairvoyance. 6 kinds of clairvoyance. The most important of which is Shen Sem Shepa, which means the perfect ability to read other people's minds. Perfect ability to read other people's minds. And I said, you know, like, I think in the retreat, one of the main results of the 3-year retreat was interesting. Like, I don't claim that we all could read what Chikila was thinking about on her grocery list for that day. You know what I mean? But I'd say that everybody in the 3-year retreat got this very marked ability to sense the emotions of the world at large and of the people around the retreat area, you know, and especially the other retreatants. I mean, if one retreatant had a bad night and couldn't sleep, none of us could sleep. You know, like after a certain time, it wasn't like you could read their thoughts or you could hear, oh man, I'm having a bad night or something like that. But you just felt uneasy and you couldn't sleep. And then you'd find out, you know, and then we'd start to place bets on who was it, you know. Like, and then next time we saw him at the break, we'd like, okay. September 4th, you remember September 4th? But you can develop this. You know, if you do good retreat, if you do sincere meditation, if you keep your practice well, you start to get it. And then by the time you become a jewel, one of the 3 jewels, you have a perfect ability to read other people's minds. And the idea is there that you can see their calm directly. What's calm?
Buddha nature.
Yeah. And calm can also mean their deep propensities. Deep propensities. Like, you can look at a student and say, okay, this student needs this right now. And it might be a bop on the head. Okay? And once you get to be once your abilities get advanced like that, then you might start acting strange towards students. You know, it might seem strange to other people, but you see the calm in them. You see what their deep seeds are, and then you're more able to do things that they need, and those won't be perceived by other people, and you will look strange. You know, your activities or your behavior towards them might seem strange, and that's why you get stories like Marpa or you know, or even Lama Supaha or Kinrupa Sebha, they're operating on a different perception of a person's needs because they see them much deeper. And then they might be doing like unusual tapke, skillful means to help that person. Okay? And if you don't have that, you can't be a good 3 jewel. So it's one of the things you have to start thinking about. You have to start thinking to stop relating to people on a superficial level. You know, oh, this person looks like they need a Coke right now. Or this person wants me to be nice to them right now. And you have to look deeper into their needs, way down into their needs, and see what they need right then. And sometimes it's hard. And the great lamas, I think, like Ken Rinpoche, he's not afraid to do something that's very hard on a student. I mean, I can speak from experience, having been the object for 20 years. Out of their compassion and seeing your come, they often ask you to do things that are very difficult for you, and which might even seem strange. And then, you know, 15 years later, you're telling your students how great it was that this Lama did this to you, you know, which I'm doing. Okay, so, but you should pray to gain that ability. It's like it's on your list of things to develop. The ability to see deep within a student and see their real propensities and their real needs. Where can you hook them? You know, where can you turn where's the crux in their spirit that you can turn it up and make them a better person, help them become a Buddha faster. And then sometimes it's a very unusual thing, right? We'll take a break and then we'll finish. Yeah.
Clairvoyance having to do with one of the 6 powers, understood, but I'm not sure how the 6 powers tie in with Tungen.
Yeah, Tu means powerful. Tungen means powerful, in the sense that they have the 6 kinds of clairvoyance. The most important
Buddhists possess these 6 powers.
Yeah,
Okay.
the most important of which is the ability to read other people's minds. Yeah. Okay, we'll take a break. Come back. Take a nice break.